The latest proposed industrial relations changes by the government have been howled down by big business groups who claim it's taking Australia back to the 1970s. But a bigger warning is that it will increase the price of Ubers, of home delivery, and a whole lot of other things as well. Our business editor, Ross Greenwood, joins us now to explain. Ross, why would the price of all of these things go up?
Well, the reason is because many of these people under this new law would ultimately become employees and therefore, as a result, wouldn't be responsible for looking after their own tax, their own superannuation. But the companies that employ them would have to do so. And also, you get a sense that it would actually try and bring them into accord with various awards, which right now they're trying to negotiate through the Parliament in terms of doing it on a collective industry-by-industry basis. Now, this is new legislation being proposed by the Workplace Relations Minister, Tony Burke. But, you know, the business groups came together yesterday. Now, this is not sort of necessarily something they do every day, but here's Jennifer Westacott from the Business Council of Australia.
Well, we all want Australians to have safe jobs, we want them to have rewarding jobs, and we want them to have well-paid jobs. But the government's proposed radical shake-up of the industrial relations system will not achieve that. Instead, it will create complexity. It will create extra cost, it will make it harder to get casual work, it will make it harder to employ people. Why would any government at this time, when people are struggling with the cost of living crisis, make things more expensive? And the Minister admitted today that costs would go up. Well, how much are things going to go up? Why would we make things more complex?
Yeah, well, Tony Burke basically says, look, if you don't want to work as a contractor, or if you do want to work as a contractor, you can, but it's about giving people rights who do want to become employees. This is what he had to say yesterday at the National Press Club.
Someone delivering pizzas on the back of a bike is not running a small business. They are a worker with very few rights, and depending on their app, they'll get different levels of treatment. We want them to have some minimum standards. Because while we all love the technology, it's got to be possible to have 21st century technology without having 19th century working conditions.
Will the government get this through Parliament, Ross? The Senate reports today say struggling with other legislation, namely to increase super taxes for people with large accounts.
This is a problem right now for the government. This relationship with the Greens in particular is deteriorating. And so as a result, there's a lot of legislation that the government wants to get through, including that industrial relations legislation, plus also superannuation legislation. Now, the interesting thing is here, you'd think this would be right in the Greens' wheelhouse because effectively they want to increase the tax on people with the biggest superannuation accounts. You might remember this going back some way. Anybody with more than $3 million in their superannuation fund, the tax on the earnings would suddenly jump from 15%, which is very concessional, to 30%, which is still concessional. The second thing that they're trying to get through is that when you go into the pension phase, in other words, at the moment, that pension phase, there is no tax on that. Effectively, it would be capped at $1.9 million. But the Greens say they will not allow this to pass unless they also bring in legislation that says super will be paid on the government's paid parental leave, something the government has previously knocked back. Now, just in the last minute or so, I've just got a statement from the Treasurer about all of this, who says, here we go again, the Greens are adding, siding with the coalition once more, and this time on super, and effectively said, we've already extended paid parental leave as part of a multi-billion-dollar agenda to support women's economic opportunity. So, as you can see, the Treasurer is now responding to the Greens potentially knocking back this legislation.
OK, that just in for Ross. Meanwhile, Ross, we've been running this story all morning too. Why does no one want to work with Twiggy?
Well, this is a fascinating thing. So Twiggy has basically said it's my way or the highway to all of its executives. Now, Twiggy Forrest is not only the major shareholder of Fortescue Metals Group, which is one of the most valuable companies in Australia, but also on top of that, he's got another business he created called Fortescue Future Industries. Now, that industry is all about hydrogen, is all about trying to create green power. He says we're one of the biggest polluters on the planet, and as a result, we're going to pour our money out of Fortescue Metals, digging up the iron ore. We're going to put it into the future. And so as a result, what's happened is there's been literally a massive transition. We're showing you here only a snapshot. The former chief executive of Fortescue Metals, Elizabeth Gain, she left. Ian Wills, the chief financial officer, left at the start of the year. Guy DeBell left as chief financial officer of Fortescue Future Industries. That was only after about 6 months or so. Fiona Hick has been the chief executive for a very short period of time. As the chief executive, that took almost 2 years to find her. She's gone inside 6 months, and so was the chief financial officer. It is really a revolving door there is no doubt.
Yeah, we'll see where that all ends up. Thanks so much, Ross. We'll talk to you again soon.